Patreon Q&A 162. There's going to be spoilers for all of the series I'm going to be talking about, so tread carefully. Little Ferrari asks, do you think we are only going to see Platinum S fight Awakened Garo, or do you think we'll actually see some feats from him? So first of all, I do think that a Platinum S is eventually going to go on to fight Awakened Garo, and by fight I mean like, I don't know how long it's going to last, because that's essentially what goes into making Awakened Garo. So like, he's not going to become Awakened Garo when he's fighting Bang, and speaking of that fight, I guess that has to wrap up. So probably the next time we come back to that, Garo is ready to move on to the next alpha. That's obviously going to be Platinum S, and Platinum S is either going to be a little or a lot stronger than Garo. Also, we have to remember that we saw like his eyes cracking the last time we saw him going against Bang, so I assume the shell is going to break off of him and he's going to regain his consciousness. So that means Platinum S will just fight fully self-aware Garo, but in his like current 85% monster form or whatever. And then through fighting Platinum S, which is going to be incredible, he's going to do the same thing that he did against Darkshine, where he's going to get stronger on the fly in order to overcome his opponent. And considering that Platinum S is implied to be maybe as strong as Meteoric Burst Boros at this point, I really have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's rivaling that. Then naturally Garo will have to become Awakened Garo to match that, and that's how current Garo is going to ascend to that form. So how long is he going to fight Platinum S? I have no idea, because in the webcomic, Golden S's death is instantaneous, and before that we don't even see the fight. We kind of just get like a far view Dragon Ball Z fight glance. I doubt One and Murata are going to do that to us with the manga. Before that, I do think that Platinum S is going to get some feats, because he kind of has to. They need to establish how powerful he is, of course. And I don't think all of the S-Class are necessarily going to job to him, because they're eventually going to job to Awakened Garo, and it would kind of be redundant at that point, right? So he might be the one that just completely takes out Vomited Fear Ugly, maybe. Or maybe he defeats Evil Natural Water instead of Saitama. I'm just thinking there has to be like a big fish for him to fry to really show us like how outrageous he is, because he is going to be outrageous. And I see a lot of you guys saying that, you know, it looks like he might be speed-based, and I agree. Usually when they become slender like that and, you know, elongated, it usually indicates speed, or at least that's like the stereotype. And Awakened Garo is obviously like the speed lord, so I'm sure we're gonna get some awesome sequences. misael asks, or just let me know how you pronounce your name, but they want me to know which One Punch Man character that's missing on the battlefield right now I think is gonna come back soon. And I'll say Psychos for sure. Like, we saw that before Orochi was killed, she like evacuated his body. It was just one quick panel, but she's for sure going to come back and have her like pivotal fight with Fubuki, because it's pivotal for Fubuki's development. And I think Psychos will eventually become like a good guy in the last arc. Mateo asks, have you ever thought or wanted to cover Black Clover? So I get asked about this a lot, and I'll do this much for you guys. On my second channel, Zhoniin Might, which I just made, please check it out. I'm going to do a video on there where I review the first chapter of Black Clover. Basically going to check it out, give you my first impression, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I don't know when I'm gonna make that, but it'll come out soon. And Delamante pretty much asked the same thing about Baki, so I'll say the same to you, Delamante. I promise that I eventually will make a video on my second channel where I review the first chapter of Baki, and then basically give you like my first impressions, and then I'll see where it goes from there. No promises, but maybe I'll do a review of the first season or the first arc or whatever. I mean, if it catches my interest enough, I'll just organically start covering, and just any series in general, especially if it becomes popular enough. Samurai asks, can you rank Mihawk, Odin, and Zoro? So right now, maybe Zoro is approaching Odin's level or is on it. I'm not really sure, but they kind of have similar feats against Kaido, right? And they both went against two different versions of Kaido, so it's like, whose is more impressive? Probably Zoro's, because it was an older, stronger, or at least implied to be stronger Kaido in his hybrid form, as where Odin kind of just did it when he was in his full-blown Dragon Zone form. But also there was kind of implications that maybe Odin could have like low diffed Kaido or something, maybe, because he for sure was going to take him out if Kaido didn't have, you know, the intervention with the Momonosuke trickery. So I don't know, I think it's still kind of ambiguous, to be honest, of who is stronger than who, or just what Odin's full strength is. Don't forget about his clashes with Whitebeard and Roger, or just Whitebeard, but they're both probably beneath Mihawk regardless. Sean H asks, I don't know if you're keeping up with Boruto, but could you say what the disaster level is of Ishiki and Naruto's Baryon modes? So I haven't been keeping up with Boruto. A couple months ago, I was like loosely keeping up with it. I kind of had a good idea what was going on. Like I saw like, you know, whenever a chapter came out, I would kind of get the cliff notes of it. But I haven't been keeping up with even that. So I have no idea what the disaster levels of these characters could be in these forms. But considering how far the power scale has come in the series, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like gods. You know, why not? Nico L asks, do you think New Order will eventually be passed on to Izuku towards the end of the series in the Vestige world? So I think it's very possible that that could happen, but it's kind of like implied that once Star has fully like decayed, then I guess she'll no longer have control over the New Order rule that she made for it to revolt against the other quirks. I mean, that would be cool if it's always like that, but that would kind of muddy All For One and Shigaraki's like final villain push. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to be like a lasting dynamic, although it very well could be. But I wouldn't be surprised if eventually, like in the Vestige world, Izuku gains access to all of the All For One quirks, because I think that's eventually what's going to happen. And then maybe he meets the vestige of Star and Stripe there, because, you know, there's like a piece of you that gets embedded in your quirk or something. They're going to explore that more. Daddy Adam asks, Ultra Dripstink Swaggerot versus every character who can use Ultra Instinct. So Swaggerot is pretty powerful. So I'm not clear on all of his feats. I assume they're not too far off from Goku's, but this would mean that he'd have to be stronger than the Grand Priest, which I guess Swaggerot probably is, because he's just a variant of Goku, right? Like the strongest variant there is, or one of them. I don't know if he's stronger than El Hermano. And I guess the Pokemon are brainwashed in the Pokeballs, because they would have to be subservient, otherwise they're just living in torture inside of those small cages. PFM18 asks, what changes would you like to see to Garo versus Saitama in the manga compared to the webcomic? To be honest, I don't really have any special requests that I don't think they're already going to do, like going to space and stuff like that. Not like interstellar space, but, you know, keeping around the level between the moon and the earth. But one of Murata would just steamroll over any idea I had anyway, so I have faith that they're going to deliver, because they have a very high success rate with that. Boxsteam asks, with the reveal of SSK King, how do you think a fight between him and Boros would go? So unfortunately, it's not looking good for Boros, and dare I say it, but the new wave motion cannon makes the collapsing star roaring cannon look wolf level in comparison. I'm sorry, I mean, I didn't do it, it was Murata, but yeah, it's not looking good for Boros right now, like not at all. natedawg asks, do you think Star and Stripe is going to be saved at the last minute, maybe with a team and Eri? I mean, I guess that's the only way to save her, right? Because she is decaying as we speak, and rewind immediately, I guess, is the only way to stop it. But unfortunately, no, I don't think there's going to be any Deus Ex Eri this time. I'm pretty positive Star is going to die here, because she kind of has to. I mean, it would be less problematic for her to stick around in the story if she didn't have a quirk, which Horikoshi could have did, but it's probably better for her to go out on her shield, because that's all she was ever supposed to be anyway. She's just a vessel to have the New Order quirk, so Shigaraki can get it. All the other stuff is just an amazingly well-crafted, fun addition. That's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I want to thank all of my patrons for continuing to support me. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, simply check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. And if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.